Welcome to another episode of NPC. I'm your host, N64 Josh, and I've got Vlam with me. What's going on? How are you?
Howdy, hello, hi.
In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Vlam, also our year in review with Nintendo, and I finally beat Tears of the Kingdom, and he was like, hey, we should talk about this game. I was like, hey, that's a great idea. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll jump into it right after this.
Oh, yeah.
Blam! Flip-flam! What? Bam! Let's start right there just with your name.
Okay.
FVLAM. Where's it from?
So my username is an acronym. I made it. I was playing Halo with my friends back in like middle school, and we were playing, and he was like, you should get on this Xbox Live stuff. And I was like, okay. So I made my own account on there, and I just did the acronym. I was like, I've lived in Florida and Virginia in my entire life. And I like Link, or I like Luigi a lot. Luigi's my favorite video game character, or at least it was at the time. And then my first and last initials. Austin is my real name, and I will not be saying my last name. But you get the first letter.
There you go. And that's been your name everywhere. So if people want to go and check out any of your content, it's just FVLAM.
Yes, sir. That is correct. And it's been my handle since I was like 12 on everything. So then I've since adjusted some things. So I have like a personal account now. Like I changed it on my personal account, and then I made it the handle on like my content accounts on some things. Something just fell in my other room. I was just like, what? It scared me. Anyway, sorry. Anywho. Yeah. So yeah, so that was that was the origins of Lamb. That's how it came about. And yeah, now it's all, I mean, I have Nintendo even in the roots of my name. So
I love that. And you said sometimes it changes between Luigi and Link, right?
Yeah, I like to retcon it when I like I don't know. I like Link a lot more now. I do still love Luigi, don't get me wrong. And so but I like to retcon it a little bit just to be like, I like Link sometimes. Yeah, I'll throw it out there. The OGs know though. It's Luigi.
I love it. That's great. That's great. Well, before we get into like your history, let's talk just a bit about your content. Like we met on the Nintendo Prime or the Nindy Prime content, or Nindy Byte podcast.
I would say, was it Nintendo Prime at the time, or had it changed to the Nintendo Byte?
That it might have been like one of the last episodes of Nintendo Prime. Like, okay, I feel like it might have been. Regardless, that's where we connected. And then recently, you just did a charity event, a charity stream to raise money to feed people, and hit your goal, which was $1,000, which was just amazing, and had a really good turnout for that. It was a lot of fun. And so talk a little bit just about some of the stuff that you do as a creator.
Yeah. So I currently, well, I'll just kind of take you through like, well, yeah, I'll say now. So like right now I'm like a Nintendo variety kind of guy, and I do events content. So whenever we have, I like to bring other creators on, and I like to host them. And I like to say like, here's like last night we did a quiz show. That was a spoof of the Big Fat Quiz Show of the Year. We do different things. I did a Dealer and Dough Deal kind of game show the night before that. With a bunch of different, like with 9 different creators. And then as Josh was saying, I also do a show. I mean, I've done charity events where I think we had almost 40 to 50 people in that Mario Kart charity event. I like events coordinating. I ran a Fortnite tournament earlier this year in the summer that had almost 100 people in it. I love doing that stuff, and I love bringing like the community and also like communities around the communities together, because you get a lot of cross pollination, and you love or hate Dan Clancy, the CEO of Twitch, but I think he is onto something when he says the way to grow on Twitch and the way to thrive on Twitch is through collaboration. I think it's an awesome thing. And it's just a way to get to know people.
Since the beginning. Honestly, like before rating was a thing, you had people putting stream teams together. I know I have friends who were able to have full-time careers because of the fact that they were all together. They were streaming at different times. They were sharing each other's audience, and that it made it go. So yeah, very, very true. Love that. Love that. And you do such a great job. Like you were doing commentating on the Mario Kart tournament, and just you put out a video for all of us. So it was like we knew exactly where we needed to be, what we do. There were tournaments created. Like you had pretty much all the ducks in a row, which was great. And my community had a great time. Like
good. I'm so glad.
Super fun just getting to chat with other creators as well and race against them. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. So keep it up.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's the hardest part about the events too, is like making sure all the prep work that goes into them, because there's a lot of prep work sometimes, especially with like the high caliber events. With like once you get above like 10 or 20 creators, it starts to be really like, okay, I have to do a lot of prep work to make sure these people all know where they need to be, what they're doing. Because otherwise, the message just doesn't get across. You can do as many Discord pings, you can do as many like written things as you want, but some people just like won't read them or they won't see them. I don't know if you saw. I think I sent that video into individual DMs as well. I've gotten to a point where I will individually DM everybody the information, like a TLDR, basically, like, hey, because I know you're not reading the Discord. I get it. There's, especially if you're a bigger creator, you're probably in a million Discords, right? But it was really funny because I was at I got to like the 12th person or whatever, and Discord was like, it made me fill out like a CAPTCHA for every person after that. And it's because it thought I was a bot because I was spamming the same message over and over and over again. So, which is fair, but also I'm like, no, I'm just a silly content creator who needs to make sure everybody knows what the hell they're doing. Anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you did a great job, and it was a lot of fun. And I hope it's something, if that Mario Kart, if you end up doing Mario Kart for that charity, next year, whatever, I will definitely be there. It was a great time. So, well, let's jump back in the Wayback Machine and talk about the early days of Nintendo. Like, when did you start gaming, and what was some of your most fond Nintendo memories?
So I have a prop for everybody.
I love it. Can't wait to see it. Let's see.
A prop, everybody. I mean, everybody I'm sure knows what a Nintendo 64 is, but this is my Nintendo 64 that I first ever got. This is not the one I play. I have a region locked on one. I have an unlocked region one that I used to play the Japanese version of Mario 64 when I speedrun. But I keep this now as a relic and a reminder, right? I originally started on PC gaming, like playing Freddy the Fish, Pajama Sam, Spy Fox. It's a great games. Love Pajama Sam, by the way. It's a fantastic game. Even if you're an adult, it's just so wacky, man. They don't make them like they used to. You know what I mean? But I got this Nintendo 64. I don't think I got it for like Christmas or like for my birthday or anything. I just got it. My dad brought it home one day. He liked to do the thing where he would get discount consoles. I think the GameCube had come out recently, and so this went on like discount at the store. And so I got this. He brought it home one day, and the only game I had for it for forever was Mario 64. I did not get a single. I mean, as an adult, I've gotten other games for it since, but as a child, I literally only had the one game on this console was Mario 64, and I loved it. And as I mentioned a few seconds ago, I love it so much still to this day that I speedrun it, and the 16 star, I can beat it in 20 minutes and 20 seconds. That is my personal best record right now. Gunning for a sub 20. I haven't done a push for it since the summer, but we'll see if we can. We'll see if we can smash that personal best, right? But yeah, this is where I started. And then I got my cousins had a GameCube, and then I was like, Mom, I want a GameCube, and I fell in love with Luigi's Mansion and Mario Sunshine. A funny story about Luigi's Mansion. I loved it so much, and I loved shout out Chugga Conroy. I'm sure a lot of if you're fans of yours, I'm sure they're Nintendo crossover, right? I was a huge fan of Chugga Conroy. That was like the first YouTuber, Nintendo YouTuber specifically, I watched growing up. I watched more like Game Grumps, but Chugga Conroy was like the first one. And I loved his Luigi's Mansion Let's Play, right? As a kid. And when I was like, I want to do that. I want to do Let's Plays. I want to be that, right? This is how it leads into my content creator career, right? I went and I printed out, I made my own Luigi's Mansion walkthrough. Like I took the wiki and I like copy pasted things over into like a Word document. And then I printed out like 100 pages of Word documents on my mother's printer at home, which this is like 2008 time frame. So that's like not cheap at all. I mean, it's not cheap nowadays either, but you know what I mean? Like it is like, that's like a detriment. You just killed a million trees and the ink costs more than oil and all that, So it was like my mom was so pissed, but it was so fun. Like I look back at that, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I did that. But yeah, then I got a Wii. It was over when I got a Wii. The Wii is like my favorite era of Nintendo. I'd be so real. I think the game, I mean, it's probably nostalgia goggles. I 100% acknowledge it, but man, the caliber of games we got during the Wii era was just so sick, and the discography is just so massive. And I've been trying to rebuild it. My discography that I had when I was a kid. You can kind of see it behind the Nintendo Christmas tree, by the way. Excuse me. But yeah, so and then I actually kind of skipped the Wii U era. And part of the beginning of the Switch era. Because I just kind of fell out of gaming. I was so busy with like graduating high school and trying to be successful at college and stuff. But then I eventually saved enough money to get a Nintendo Switch. I do have I have a Wii U as well. I did eventually get the Zelda Wind Waker editions Wii U. I do love that thing and with very dearly. Yeah, I do have a Wii U. I keep it on the desk and I turn it on periodically because of the issues. By the way, if you have a Wii U, plug it up and you care about it. Plug it up, turn it on periodically because it will brick if you don't do that. Anyways, so I got a Switch and I got Breath of the Wild and I played Smash with my friends in college a lot. That was really fun. We actually tried to do a previous recording of this podcast, and when it messed up, me and Josh here decided to play Smash a bunch. It was really fun. He is better. He's pretty good. Not
by much.
But hey, he's better though. But yeah, I would say we're about even skill level. I was really worried that you were gonna be like so much better than me.
No, I knew.
But yeah, so then I got into content creation. I mean, I had always, like I was saying previously, I'd always loved YouTube and content creation because of like Game Grumps and Chugga Conroy. And then of course, eventually, like I loved a bunch of other YouTubers like Markiplier and, all the big ones, right? But I got into content creation because Ludwig Ogren did a subathon in the beginning of COVID. And I thought, oh, it's pretty easy to hit the go live button in comparison to like making a YouTube video. Like there's a lot less you have to learn. You can kind of just wing it, right? So I started hitting the go live button around beginning of COVID. It was a way for me to I'm very extroverted. It was a way for me to exert myself in a safe environment during COVID because without, risking myself. And I had friends that I lived with that were immunocompromised. So I especially could not risk going out and like catching it and then just spreading it to them. Right. And I started doing that, and I started out just playing whatever, played Rocket League, Destiny, whatever my friends were playing. Like a lot of times it was just, I would get on my friends in Discord. I'd hit the go. I'd be like, hey, can I go live? Are you comfortable with that? They'd be like, yeah, whatever. And I hit go live and we would just be in Discord yapping and playing a game. Which is honestly a great way to start out because it gets you, I got affiliate within the first month. But then I switched to Minecraft and I did the Minecraft SMP thing. And then but then eventually I got tired of that and I pivoted to Pokemon Nuzlocke. And if you don't know what a Nuzlocke is, it's a self-imposed rule set on yourself about Pokemon if their HP reaches 0, then that means you cannot use that Pokemon again in battle throughout the rest of the game. And if you have all 6 of your Pokemon reach your HP 0 in one battle, you wipe and you have to restart the whole game. So
that's Fire Emblem.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah, Fire Emblem. Yeah, right. So it's a way to kind of heighten that experience. And there's other content creators I was inspired by. Peach Owl is one of them. Who they now do they make ROM hacks. Like they take the games and they will alter the code so the AI is smarter and the Pokemon are a little bit different and all this other stuff. And super fun, super cool. But I got burnt out of that really quickly, and I got burnt out of Pokemon in general really quickly. But I found a lot of shiny hunters and a lot of friends that I'm still currently friends with in the Pokemon community. But now I've pivoted to more Nintendo variety and events content, using Pokemon creators, having them on my stuff. And I mean, Pokemon's pretty adjacent to Nintendo, I would say. So, but yeah, if you like Mario Party, especially, that's one of my favorite games. I do a lot of Mario Party as a Nintendo game. I do a lot of Zelda. And then of course the events sometimes aren't Nintendo focused, but they're still there's a lot of Nintendo in them. So, but yeah, that's what I do. And that's how I came to be. It was a big journey, a lot of hoops and a lot of ups and downs, but it was good.
I love it. Well, while you mentioned Pajama Sam, I don't know if you know this, but there is a Wii game of Pajama Sam.
Oh, and it's Wii exclusive?
I don't know if it's exclusive, but it is Wii. Yeah, you can get it for $33 on Amazon right now. So, don't fear the dark. Pajama Sam, don't fear the dark.
So it's not original, but I think I would still want that, just to have in my discography.
I kind of had a feeling,
because that is the best Pajama Sam game. That is, don't fear. Yeah, it's in fact, don't fear the dark is actually that's not the right subtitle. The correct subtitle is there's no need to hide when it's dark outside. That's so interesting. On the PC game, that's what the subtitle. Anyway, sorry, can you tell I'm obsessed?
Yeah, no, I had a feeling when I found it, I was like, oh, I think he's gonna like this. So, well, no, I mean, I love that. I mean, just the the transitioning from going from into Pokemon, out of Pokemon, burning out, just the ebbs and flows, all that stuff's great. And and it's got you to where you are now.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. So, well, we're gonna jump into our second topic here, which is going to be talking about our year in review with Nintendo.
Yo.
2024. Okay, we'll play a little game.
Okay.
Who do you think played the most games, you or me?
So number of games or hours?
We'll start numbers first.
Okay, number of games, I feel like is you. Different games. I feel like you have me beat on that, especially because I feel like you probably reviewed and looked at different games. I feel like I might beat you at hours though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit the get started button here. Here we go. My number of games, which actually made me laugh because it is 64.
Yeah. Oh wow, 64. That's actually so funny. you played 64 games in 2024, yes. And your name is 64 Josh. That's
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I unfortunately, you definitely beat me. I'm at 25 games, but that is a lot more games, and I fear you may also have beat me in the number of hours. But I could be wrong. I don't know. So I'll say my hours first, because since you said the game.
Okay.
I played 278 hours of video games on the Switch alone. I definitely played a lot more PC games this year, but I paid 270 hours, and you probably had me beat.
I don't even know if I want to say this.
Is it in the thousands? Oh my goodness. That's crazy. That's crazy. You have me beat by a massive margin. Okay. Yeah. Again, I want to give myself grace here.
Hours.
I want to give myself grace here because I think I did a lot more PC gaming. Like if you had to count all the hours I put into like Valorant and I play a lot of like games offline. Like I'm like I can't have Valorant or shooting games be part of my brand. They have to be for me. I probably hit that. I probably hit that 1,000 mark, but yeah.
This doesn't include my Fortnite because that's all on Xbox, same as Halo and stuff too. So, but yeah, well, it's even kind of fun. What was your very first game?
My very first game was Suika game because that was like super popular, and we did there. I think my friend did like a Suika tournament. My very first game was on January 2nd. I played Suika game, and I think it was a tournament I was a part of. I'm not even gonna lie.
You ready for this?
Just Dance on January 1st. That's crazy. That's awesome.
I was dancing in the new year with my daughters.
I was about to say it must have been like the girls were home for holidays. You were playing it and hanging out. 100%.
Yep.
That's exactly what that is. That's awesome.
I love. So any shock? My most played game was Mario Kart.
That doesn't shock me. It doesn't. Tears of the Kingdom being second best and you taking so long to beat it. That does shock me a little bit. I won't lie. I thought that might be a little less since it was taking you a hot minute to actually like go through and finish it. But good game still. I want you to try and guess what you think my most played games were this year.
Most played games.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint that.
Okay.
The first one is technically Mario, but they're all Mario games. They're all variations of Mario games.
They're all variations of Mario games.
The top three games, yeah. But the first one is not. It doesn't have Mario in its title, but it is Mario's in there. I know
Smash.
No. It'll make sense when I say it, or if you get it.
I got you. Okay, I know it's got to be Mike Tyson's Punch Out where he plays the ref. No, I'm just kidding. I'm
I'm actually like a massive. I've been low key learning the Mike Tyson's Punch Out speed run. Summoning Salt, I'm coming for you. Just kidding.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Okay, well, let's see. 3. I'm gonna go Mario RPG. Maybe 3D World. And Mario Kart?
No. So my top 3 are here. I'll share my screen now.
Yeah, I'll get it.
So the first one is I don't know if it'll. There you go. So it's the Nintendo Switch Online emulator, and a reason why I said it's technically Mario is because the most hours were sunk in that through Mario 64 practice. Because what I do on planes is I will literally see how many times I can speedrun Mario 64 before a plane lands if I'm like really bored. Or I played a lot of like Mario Party, like the Mario Party 1 through 3 on the emulator. But the other 2 were Jamboree, because I did an entire weekend marathon of Jamboree on its release weekend. Like I literally played it for 12 hours a day, every day. Boom, boom, nonstop. And then I did a Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door marathon where I played the game for 24 hours straight. I literally did not go to bed. I played it for 24 hours. I burned an entire day. I don't remember. It was very fun and very cool. I do not recommend it, and nor will I ever stay up for 24 hours straight ever again. That was the first and only time I will ever do that because my sleep schedule was so bonked and my body was not having a good time. But I did it. I could say that I did it. And it was, I honestly had a great time doing it. It was so much fun and the chat loved it. Really good. Everything. It was awesome. So, but yeah, that was 3.
I'll say this. I picked Mario RPG thinking, I was like, which one came out? I kept wanting to say, I was like, it's not Brothership. I could not think of 1,000-Year Door because I'm like, I have a feeling it's one of the RPGs that released, but I could not. So I just threw out RPG.
I think RPG was last year too. So I played a decent chunk of it, I believe, but it was like, I don't think I played any of it in 2024. Like I played it pretty heavily in like October, November, December of last year, but then like it was on my last year's review for sure, if I remember correctly. So here, I'll show mine, and then we can start guessing your next thing. What was your top gaming style? Or mine was. I guess I have to guess, right? I have to guess what yours was.
Yeah, you can go for it. I mean, keep in mind, Mario Kart was 588 hours.
I would say, what do they consider Mario Kart? I guess action. Or I go racing. Oh, there's a race. Okay, I didn't realize there was a racing category. So then, yeah, it has to be racing. I'm gonna guess the percent though. At you said you had like it was like 500 and something hours. So I'm gonna say it was like over 50%. It has to be, right? Was Mario Kart?
You would think that would be the case.
No, really?
No.
Okay.
Racing is only 31%.
What? How do you have 500 and something? Okay, I had 70 hours in Nintendo Switch Online and 40 hours in this and 30 hours in this. And that results in a higher 30%, 36%. That doesn't seem right. Nintendo, Shigeru Miyamoto, I need you to get on this. What's going on here?
Well, so my top 37% is party. And
really?
So I think Mario Kart and Smash are both considered party games.
Oh, that's right, because they hate Smash players. That's right. They don't want it to be a competitive game. I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, because it literally says fighting is 3%.
Yeah, so they have that actually would make sense because Smash Party, Mario Kart's probably considered a party game in some capacity, and also a racing game, and then. Okay, actually, you know what? That tracks. If you're thinking like Nintendo and not like, somebody with common sense, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Yeah.
The thing that I find strange is because I'm such a huge first person shooter fan, my shooting is at 1%. Really? I just don't play a ton of Splatoon. Like,
oh, I was about to say, do you not play a lot on your Switch?
If I play Fortnite, it's on Xbox, and the only shooter I've started playing recently on Switch is Star Wars Hunters.
Ooh. Oh, if you like Star Wars Hunters, you should try out Marvel Rivals, by the way. Yep. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I did not like Overwatch. I do not like Overwatch type games typically. I'm in love with it. It's so fun. Not to like glaze, but
no. I need to try it. So get it downloaded at least. Okay, well, let's see what's next here. What your most played month?
Yeah, what do you think mine was? I think you might have already seen it. I don't know if you were watching, but
I think I did. I think it showed October maybe.
Yeah, so that was when I was playing. That's like literally the 46 hours straight of Mario Party Jamboree. That was just boom, 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 back to back. Which is funny because it's a close second to the other month was when I played Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door.
Gotcha.
Because I played it for 24 hours straight, and then I did another 12-hour the next day to like finish it up. Or not the next day, but like soon very after. I'm gonna say, I wonder what your most played month is. Did you ever host like a tournament or anything like that? Or like a Mario Kart thing or anything with your community, or do you do that just kind of regularly?
So April was when I was making my biggest push ever on TikTok. And I was doing the cart club, like,
okay, that's right. I thought you had started.
I was going hard. So
yeah, then it probably April then. I mean, that's if I had to guess. Is that correct?
Yeah. That's 152 hours.
Wow. That's impressive.
But I think it does track when you're like if your Switch is just on.
Oh, really? And it's not like playing.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Here's the month by month. If you just leave it running.
Yeah, you idle it. Yeah. I did a lot with Mario Party Jamboree for sure because I had to go to the restroom, do whatever. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of Pokemon at the beginning. I guess I shiny hunted or did some sort of Pokemon events, and then this is when I was like trying to push for sub 20 again. And of course, there's the marathon, the 24-hour marathon. Yeah, and then again this summer, I was on the big push with my friends. We were doing a thing where we would get into a Discord call and we would all like just speed run Mario 64 at the same time and like try to get it as slow as we could. And then I was traveling so much in September that like Echoes of Wisdom was I just wasn't gaming a lot in general in September because I had a work trip for a week and then TwitchCon was there for like the next week after. So I played Zelda Echoes of Wisdom for like a weekend because I was like, this is the only time I have to stream. So I did a mini marathon of that, and I didn't even beat it all the way. It's a good game. It's just I just was like, oh my God, I have no time. And then Jamboree came out like soon after that. Oh yeah, and I had an award show. I do an award show for my like when I started streaming in September, so it's like my annual thing. So I had an award show I had to plan, and yeah, anyways, and then Jamboree came out, and that's like my Super Bowl. So, what was your? I guess April, right? April, what was the game that topped out April? Was it Mario Kart?
142 hours of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Wow, yeah, you clocked it there. Holy cow!
I only played 7 total games that month, and I played 30 days.
Wow! Oh my God, 30 days. Well, you were live every day. That's impressive. I want to do that sometime, but man, that's impressive. Oh, all right. Yeah. What's the next category? Here comes the big choice. Oh yeah, what's your favorite Nintendo game of 2024? I guess it's like our little mini game awards, right?
Yeah. I'll go through let's go through your list real quick, and then I'll go through mine. Yeah. So you got N64, Jamboree,
Mario Kart Jamboree,
Thousand Year Door, Violet,
it's not gonna be that game. Probably that. Echoes. I guess this is an order of like how much I played it.
Probably, yeah.
I have a lot on it. I played a lot of different games. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wars collection. Oh yeah. I mean, again, you had what, 25 different games? I've got 64 different games to go through.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I'm sure out of your top 10 is probably going to be one of them. So if you just do the top 10, you know.
Yeah, I chose Mario Kart. It's still my like awesome. Playing it 500 hours, you know, like I can't go away. If I got to go with a 2024 title, it's going to be Echoes though.
Echoes, really?
It was definitely Echoes prior to the Game Awards and stuff. Like it was,
yeah.
But then I started really diving in, like prior to like even the Game Award announcements and everything. But now I'm like, Jamboree has got its hooks in me with this Brick Breaker contest that we're doing and trying to get to 1,000 points in Brick Breaker. We did Koopathlon last night after we got done racing. I have a TikTok spotlight today, and that's awesome. gonna be Mario Party Jamboree. So
have fun with that.
Yeah, so I'm excited. Yeah. How about you? Which one are you going with?
I think I have to go with Jamboree. It was so successful on my personal like stream stuff, but also just like it is genuinely the most fun I've had in a Mario Party game since like Mario Party 8. It is like the perfect return to form while adding a lot of new stuff that isn't mandatory. And it doesn't feel like it feels like a good Mario. It feels like a traditional good Mario Party game. You know what I mean? But it's still fresh enough with like the ally mechanics and some other stuff that it's new and it's fun. And I just keep finding myself coming back to it. It's got good stuff. Like I think some popularity died off for it, but like man, for me personally, it is good. I am a big Mario Party guy, and this does it for me. This gets me there.
I love it.
This is it.
Yeah, it's just so good. It's so good, and it feels like the beginning of a platform for them, which really makes me excited. Like, really gets me excited about that. So, well, right on. Well, I think it is time that we jump into our final topic of the day, and I'm going to give everybody warning right now. There will be spoilers. The game's been out long enough.
Yep.
So we will be talking some spoilers in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
So just be warned if that's something that you don't want to have to hear. So we'll jump into it right after this. Okay. Well, Tears of the Kingdom. You kind of brought this topic up, right? Which was kind of like discussing the story between Breath of the Wild and Tears.
Yeah. So I'll tell you the origins of this, and I've been wanting to talk about this because it seems to be the momentum on this topic has been getting it seems to be building a lot. There's a YouTuber called Skitty Bitty. On YouTube, obviously, they put out a 3.5 hour video essay on why Tears of the Kingdom is bad, or why they specifically the title says I hate Tears of the Kingdom. And I was like, well, I had a really good time with Tears of the Kingdom. It was like, I mean, it has some flaws, but it's not that bad, right? So I watched it, and I think she makes some very convincing arguments. And I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? It is not, in my opinion, like I think it's still a solid Zelda game, but I think there are things that the game falls flat on its face on, especially with the $70 price tag. uh, and I can go break down into that, but I was going to let you kind of glaze it first before I started to like really break down the things I found I had problems with about this game and kind of present those arguments.
So
the comments are this one are going to go crazy.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I really liked it. I will say it didn't get its hooks in me the way Breath of the Wild did, but I mean, it was a brand new system with the only game to play. And, you know, I wasn't trying to build community around a different game around Mario Kart at the time of its release. So like there are factors there. I never once thought like, oh, this game is boring or it's not, you know. Also just life. Like I was not gaming if I wasn't streaming. And so those are all factors in there. My biggest complaints with Breath of the Wild were always lack of dungeons. The boss fights were like abysmal. Like I did not like the Blythe Ganon or whatever Blight Ganon or whatever that. They just felt cheap. They did not feel. They didn't feel Zelda. They didn't. They just felt like kind of tacked on. I wanted those big monsters. So when Tears introduced those, as soon as we saw some of those trailers, I was like, yo, this is gonna be it. I think for me, the building was not my favorite. And was some like once I got auto build, it was a little bit different. Yeah. You know, and that helped.
Not easy to find. Like if you're just a casual thing and you're not looking it up, like it's very easy to miss that feature. But anyway, sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, no, you're good. And I didn't look anything up in the game. I just, you know, but what happened is when I finally, like end of summer this year, I had moved and I was like, okay, I really want to finish Tears. Like I've avoided all the spoilers. I don't know what happens at the end. And I had like done all of the bosses, like done all the champions or whatever, or all the spirits or the sages. And then, was just like, I lost myself in the depths forever. And
that's a big area.
Yeah. And I still have a few areas left to get in there. Like I happened to notice in a loading screen, I'm like, there's like one little tiny blue spot that I haven't done yet, you know? So, all that to say, like every time I picked it up, albeit in chunks, which made for the story to feel like a little bit broken up because I was like, what happened here? Like what is going on again or what? Yeah. And the other thing that happened, and this is on me and I love it, my chat would say skill issue, is I was like, I don't like the combat in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. But then it dawned on me that it was just like, I just wasn't getting the parry mechanic down well enough. And then once I started getting that, I'm like, okay, now I want to go. But I never felt like if you play games like Batman Arkham Asylum or like Shadows of War, Shadows of Mordor, like where you can bounce between enemies and like you can block and parry and chain and all that kind of stuff. Like at times, Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, it felt a little bit dated when you play action adventure games, but I mean, they kind of were built around that, right? And that's not necessarily what this is built around. So like, it's kind of an apples to oranges thing. It's just more of a preference than like than a complaint, right? Yeah. All that being said, like, I always felt the building kind of pulled you out of the immersion because it was just kind of like it felt very much like Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts. And you know, and so it like I just didn't really see a purpose for it. Like we what I really hoped was going to happen is that there was going to be DLC for the game. And then in that DLC, we were going to get the Sheikah Slate, and it was going to give us the ability to have all of the Breath of the Wild abilities and the Tears abilities. And because I feel like people got you didn't see nearly as many viral videos of Tears of the Kingdom as you did Breath of the Wild, where people were like, launching stuff across the all across Hyrule with
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
They're different, like there's a lot of very skilled people doing certain things with the Sheikah Slate and all that kind of stuff that were just really fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, they're like launching some of the Koroks like into space, the Korok space program and all that kind of stuff, like that's all funny, but the building felt like it felt like an attempt at Minecraft, I guess, or it's like kind of I don't know how to put it exactly, but just
I think what you're getting at is
out of place.
Yeah, but it never felt necessary. It always felt optional, and it never felt like it was like a piece of the game. It always just felt like it was an option. Does that make sense? Is that fair?
And it was almost kind of like in Echoes where you'd use a bed to solve everything. I would typically like just slap a rocket on my shield, get as high as I could, glide over, or I would make a balloon. The only time I did have fun building is I got to the water temple without the sage. And you're not really supposed to be able to do that.
Yeah,
except when you make 2-stage rockets, because you make one platform and then you turn the little cart over so the wheels are up and you don't attach it. And you have rockets and balloons on the outside. And then when they burn out, you recharge your battery and then hit the second one, and then it takes you, and then you have a rocket on your shield, and it got like I probably spent hours. Like that's why there's so many hours in the game, because I was just like, yo, I want to get up there. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then I got to the door and I couldn't get in because I didn't have the sage with me. But I did get the shrine up there.
Yeah.
So then I was able to just fast travel back to it, so it worked. Well, it worked out just fine.
That's cool. And I think that's like, that is to give Tears of the Kingdom its roses. I think that while it wasn't necessary, I think the building mechanic was impressive and it was cool and it had its moments and it was really awesome. And I do enjoy it, like what it brought to the game. I think there's a lot of things they could have done better with it. I think they could have made it the UI with it a bit easier. Cause again, they kind of just use the same UI that they use with the item system, which is already pretty abysmal. And sometimes takes forever because you're scrolling all the way to the right to find the item that you want. And to go back to your point about the combat, I think that's another piece of the combat that like just absolutely just destroys it, especially in this game with the fusing mechanic. Like it's almost necessary for you to go in your inventory and fuse items and stuff like that, and especially with this game's combat. And I think it just takes forever. And there needed to be some sort of like favorite system, like that you could scroll through. Like and the fact that there wasn't, especially after all the complaints from Breath of the Wild about it, I'm shocked that they didn't add some sort of system like that in this new game. But that's not the end of the world. It's definitely an inconvenience, and it definitely isn't the best. But it's not. I don't think it destroys the experience. I don't think it's not a detrimental flaw, that it's just some sort of a character flaw. What I do think is a massive flaw of Tears of the Kingdom is the story. And this is like one of my big major points. And I know that this is going to seem crazy to some people, because Tears of the Kingdom does have some awesome moments in its story. It has some of the, I think, writing wise and on paper, it's one of the better Zelda stories in the entire series, other than maybe like Skyward Sword. But I think it's not necessarily the content of the story, and more the way they tell the story of this game. And the way I find that on a fundamental level, this game story is good. It's strong, and I appreciate it for what it is. I think the way they go about it, though, with the how it's fragmented across the map, while they try to redo the Breath of the Wild thing, where it's like you're trying to find out what was happening in the past. I don't think that is necessarily something that was warranted for the kind of story they were trying to tell, because you could have gone and found a beat in the story that was very consequential. Here's a spoiler: you could have encountered the Sonya's like death scene as your first thing as to like looking into the past, and you're like, well, what the hell did I just watch? Like, why? And I feel like that really just disrupts the flow and the way the story is trying to be delivered, because comparative to Breath of the Wild, story, that was the point of it. Like, it was, you were solving Breath of the Wild was solving a mystery as to why did Link lose? Why did our hero lose? And they try to apply that to Tears of the Kingdom, but Tears of the Kingdom story is this grandiose hero's journey again. It's not a mystery. We know why our hero lost. We know what's going on. We don't know where Zelda is. Like, that's a mystery we're trying to solve, but we don't know. But the way that's delivered to us and the way that is consumed by the player is not necessarily done well at all. And in fact, I would say sometimes it's just really confusing, and you're like, what is going on? And there was just way better ways you could have done it. Like, you could have made the sages tell the main story, the main beats of the story, like what was happening in the past. I think some sort of mechanic where you, like, it's almost similar to, I don't know if you guys if you played a Skyward Sword, where there's like pockets where you go back in time. I think if there were pockets of things where you go back in time and you were there as Link and you're finding these things, or you're exploring these things and you're seeing maybe what happened, that would have been, I feel like, in my opinion, a way better execution of the story. And another major plot hole, you mentioned the Sheikah slate. I think, like, they do kind of explain where the Sheikah stuff goes, but it really is a very poor explanation. And the fact that it's like not mentioned by anyone in the world, especially the Sheikah like tribe in the village, is like, oh, our whole thing went down. Like, there is just no, it just is magically wiped from the world. And I get, like, the explanation is, oh, because when the Rising happened or whatever, it all got switched around and replaced and whatever. But it just felt like a really big cop out. And I was like, you could have still easily either kept the Sheikah stuff or changed it. I don't know. It was just really did not make sense to me. And I thought it was a very poor execution on that, or a poor explanation as to where that stuff went. Yeah. And I'll go through my last point of just the story that you are presented with through the main dungeons is also extremely repetitive. I mean, the cutscenes from the sages are almost word for word the same. If you go and there's videos out there of like comparing, or all of them playing at the same time. It's literally like, insert a live sage name here, child of the race that is, whatever, that you're of whatever area you're in. And then they say, the Demon King did this, and it's like literally word for word the exact same cutscene into that. And I thought of it in a way more creative way to say, like, if those sages delivered pieces of the story of Zelda and like what happened in the past, or even if it was like a cutscene where you played as Zelda or something, like there's way better ways you could have delivered the main story that you got from the hieroglyphs. And then you could still have the fact that her turning into, again, big spoiler here. Sorry. Big spoiler. You could have still had the mystery of her turning into the dragon. That could have been a side quest of its own, where you could have broken that down. Like, you could still say, oh, the Demon King wins because he gets all the power and whatever. Because her turning into the dragon doesn't happen until after the Demon King succeeds. Once the Demon King succeeds and he beats Rauru, and he's petrified, and they're going to come back. Zelda is the only sage remaining, along with I forget her name, the other cat lady. Right. She's the other one remaining.
Was it Sonya or something like that?
That's Sonya is. Yes, I think you might be right. I think you might be right. No, Sonya, I think, is the one who passes. I think that's Raru's wife. I'm talking about the other one, the one that's in the sheet that makes the tablet that you end up using in Tears of the Kingdom. I forget what that one's called.
It was so long ago. I'm not sure I even remember. Like, at this point.
I know, right?
So
yeah. Anyways, the point being is you could have still have fleshed out a whole mission with the hieroglyphs of the mystery of, well, where did Zelda go after the Demon King stuff transpired, right? And done a story that way without spoiling major plot beats of, oh, this is how the Demon King won. And I think that's just it. I don't think it destroys the experience of Tears of the Kingdom because I still had a very good time with it. And I even went out of my way to I like looked up and like made sure I was doing the glyphs and orders because somebody gave me a heads up like, hey, don't do them out of order or it's gonna like kind of ruin the story. But that's one of my main first reasons. And I want to let you kind of speak on that and what you think about that before I go into like my other main thing that I think is really flawed about Tears of the Kingdom.
So I was in a similar boat because I was streaming it and somebody was like, hey, look on the wall in that room where that map is at that you see them. And it kind of tells you the order that you're supposed to do them.
Yeah.
Right. And that's great. But for game design, make it linear, like just make it a quest.
If there's an intended
one.
Yeah. If it's an intended order, it shouldn't be optional. Like if it's an intended way to, like you're just ruining your own story that you're trying to tell at that point. Like from a storytelling perspective, like that's just yeah, exactly. I get, and I wanted to replicate what was in Breath of the Wild, but that's not the same story you're telling.
Yeah, and what I ran into is that was frustrating to me because they kept telling me go explore the depths. So I literally did I've probably done 97% of the routes. Haven't done all, like there's a couple I'm missing. But they would tell me, "Oh, just go explore." And I'd go and so I'd set my marker and it would put me right in the base camp with Joshua and the other NPC and they're like, "Yeah, just go explore." And I'm like, okay, but
give me some direction.
Give me a waypoint at this point because I'm past the I've already explored. I'm I'm wanting to wrap things up now, Yeah. And so I'm like, they kept telling me like, oh, well, you got to go to the southwest of, and I'm like, okay, well, how far southwest are we talking here, right?
Yep.
So I go just a bit southwest from where they say. No. They wanted me to go like all the way, like you remember, like it's like because that's where the yoga or whatever the Yiga boss
that
is,
guy,
right? And so that's basically what I had left after I did the 5th sage. I had to just do this the Yiga boss over and over and over again, and because I hadn't done any of them because I was not getting an indicator down below in the depths of where I needed to move. And so that was getting frustrating for me because I'm like, and then it got to the point I had everything on lockdown there that when I beat him once, then it was like, oh, go to this, go to this mine. And then it was like, oh, I already have that. I can just fast travel there now, so it was fine at that point. And I'm not like, again, I got like mildly frustrated, but like if you're gonna give us waypoints, just let us use when you're focused on the quests. Like to me, I mean, I don't think it just would have. I don't know if it's padding or if it's just they
probably a little bit.
It's like anytime you create something, like you have an idea. But you have to portray, when it comes to game design, you have to make sure that you're leading the player along with that idea that you're having the entire time. Otherwise, they're going to be in the dark.
Easy way to remedy that if like you wanted to still have it be mysterious and add more padding to it. So a fun trick is, I don't know if you've noticed the roots and the shrines on the surface, they line up in the exact location. And like if an NPC just is like, Eureka, this is crazy. The shrine and the roots, they seem to be linked in some capacity. Then boom, there you go. Then it helps you find, but you can still keep it a mystery, but then it gives the player a little bit more of a radar as to like, okay, that's probably, it's going to be in that general area, So I don't know, but that would have been a really easy fix for that. But anyways, it just feels like a really unfinished game. Like it's surprising to me how unfinished it feels after given the time and the fact that it's using another's game engine and that it's using the game world. I don't know. And that brings me to my second point. I think I think the world dungeons and puzzles are very lackluster for like what I think they get so much praise because they are better in comparison to Breath of the Wild. And if Breath of the Wild did not exist and Tears of the Kingdom existed as its own game, I don't think you would see as much praise for this game as it gets. I think it definitely should be treated as a sequel. Don't get me wrong. So like, because it is a sequel, that is the whole point of it, right? So you should still give it its roses where its roses are due. But I think that the overworld, there was not as many Sky Islands as at least I would have personally liked to have seen, especially for it to be such a selling feature of the game and for them to feel as empty as they were. I think there was only like 2 or 3 that were like really like there's the optional one for that unlocks that was like the Thunderhead Island that unlocks like the factory in the depths. And then there's the main tutorial island, which is beautiful and amazing. But like I wish there was like 2 or 3 more tutorial, like I feel like I get like wanting to have the sparsed out, small archipelago, and that's fine. I think that's great. I think what they have there is great, but I think it would have been better if there was like 1 or 2 more tutorial islands scale to that scale islands like in the sky that you could just really sink your teeth into and explore that environment. I don't know. And that leads me to, which I guess the Wind Temple and the Water Temple take up a significant portion of the sky as well. So maybe that's part of the reason that they thought that was enough. Sure. But I'm going to break down the temples because I think that they are at the best. Like I think some of them do rock, and then some of them are really fall short. And I think the Wind Temple is one of the strongest ones. It's probably second. I think it's the second best, like up there. I think it falls short on the story they're trying to tell, that the winds are too strong and whatever. Like I don't think they use enough like wind mechanics and things like that to really deliver that message. And Tulin's story associated with it is also very lackluster in my opinion. But I think the boss fight and the atmosphere just carry it. They rock, and it's so good, and the music's so good, and it's that part of it, it carries so hard, and it does it so well. I think the Fire Temple is one of the weakest ones. If there was something that would take away all of my abilities at the Fire Temple, I think the Fire Temple would be the best temple in the game. I purposefully flew to the end of the dungeon. Like you can just use the little air bike and literally get to the end of the dungeon and skip all of it. And I was like, this is really not fun. I literally went back to the beginning and I said, I'm not going to use any Shiga tech. I'm just or Zonai tech. That's what it's called. And I'm just going to play it like it's intended. And it was really fun. I was like, oh, this is a really cool dungeon. Like this is really well thought out, but the bike, you can't really, like, you can kind of get away with this if you really brute force it with other dungeons, like you were saying with the 3-stage rocket. You can skip a lot of the dungeons, especially in the Water Temple. This one was one of the more egregious ones, and the Water Temple especially is sorry, I'll be quick. Is definitely the weakest one. The Water Temple is the worst one, and the story with Sidon's weak, and it's just not. The Water Temple is so not good. And then the Lightning Temple, that's the best one in my opinion. I think it does the best because it's like even if you're using the Zonai tech, you can't really get around the puzzles. It's just really well executed and done. And so I just think that like there are pieces of this game that just weren't done as well as they should have been. And I just think it was everything felt very surface level and very bare minimum. Where like, again, I think if Breath of the Wild did not exist, I think this game wouldn't be as good as it is. I think it's still an overall very much positive experience. I think it's really fun. And I don't have time to get into the debate I have about the shrines being very lackluster in this game. I think the shrines actually perform worse in this game than they did in Breath of the Wild. But that's kind of just my main points. And if you think that you want to explore this topic more, please explore Skitty Bitty's video on YouTube. Literally, it's a literally 3.5 hour video essay, so she really digs in deep. But it's a great video, and I agree with it, like most of her points. There's some things I'm like, okay, you're really just pulling the pull now, but there's most of the things she does a really good job on. So, but yeah, that's my take on Tears of the Kingdom. I think it's the weaker of the two in the series, and I think Breath of the Wild still stands on top over Tears. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I think for me, I'm still on the side. I do like the story better.
Yeah.
In Tears, but I did do it in order, so that helped.
Yes.
Everything just felt more epic.
That's true.
Everything felt more Zelda. And so that's why I would still defend Tears in that way. But I mean, again, there's, especially when you're doing open world games, this is, there's not, I mean, look at Skyrim, look at Oblivion, look at like they, like you can kill an NPC on accident in those games and then not have a quest that they needed to give you at some point, so it's not an easy style of game to make, but well, we're at that hour mark, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Where can people connect with you?
I'm on Twitch and YouTube, FVLAM, everywhere. You can find me everywhere with that. I'm probably going to I'm going to have a YouTube video out about, I'm doing a stream today of every Mario Party map, but the stars carry over with my friends. So keep an eye out for that YouTube video. I also have a lot of Mario Party YouTube videos on my YouTube channel and some other unhinged comedy stuff. So feel free to check that out. But if you like events and game shows and stuff like that, please check out my Twitch. I would really appreciate it. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff coming up in the new year. So we just kind of wrapped up our main stuff for this year, and it was really good. I'm excited. Yeah, don't give me too much hate in the comments, by the way, for my Tears of the Kingdom take. I still think it's a great game. I just think Breath of the Wild is better.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Like that's what makes conversations like this fun. There'll be people yelling at their phones or yelling at YouTube while they're watching. It's great. So, well, I appreciate you coming on, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye.
Of course, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate this, and I hope you all have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a happy New Year.
Agreed. Bye now.